I'm so glad you could stop by. My name is Jess, and I'm coming to you from the Gulf Coast of West Central Florida, where I live with my husband and our 2 teenagers. All of my contact information and things I'll talk about in the episode will be in the show notes or description box that comes with the episode. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Jess S Makes, and let's chat about knitting and things. So what's today? Today is Wednesday. It's the last week of January 2026. Let's put it that way because I forgot to look it up. This is episode 40 and only my second episode of the new year. I did record one last week, but you may hear that I'm still congested. But after reviewing that and trying to work with it, that went in the can. So that does mean, though, I have more things to talk about. So let's get to that. It is gorgeous weather, so the weather update. It's gorgeous weather here. For me, this is the perfect range of temperatures. It's a bit chilly in the morning, so I wouldn't want to be camping in this weather necessarily. So we've been just above freezing or near freezing. There's been some frost in the mornings, and then warming up to only the 50s. So blue skies, clear, dry, absolutely love it. And really weird potential of some snowflakes Saturday night to Sunday morning here in the Tampa Bay area. Nothing that would stick, but if conditions are just right, that's what might happen. Now, unfortunately for you in the Virginia and Carolinas, I think you might have blizzard conditions. But I thank the northern states for sending us this nice cool air. And I hope if you were part of that massive storm that crossed the United States and Canada, that you still have power, that you're all right, that you got lots of crafting done. So I hope you're doing all right and staying nice, warm, and cozy and being careful when you do go outside. So let's move on. I have finished objects, some updates and works in progress, and there's going to be some kind of heavy acquisitions section as well, but you will find the timestamps or chapters below as well, so you can skip anything you're not interested in. So let's start off with, I can talk about what I'm wearing because I'm actually wearing wool today. I'm wearing 2 layers. Look, a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, and this is the Vanilla Fluff sweater. Pull my shirt out. You can see that. I don't know if you'll see in there, probably the little halo. So this is a pattern by Corinne Tomlinson, the owner and founder of the Woolly Thistle yarn shop in New Hampshire. I knit it in Rauma and some colors and yarns I will put on the screen, and held it with a strand of Rauma plume in a slightly different color to get this kind of marled heathered effect. I really love it. It's just that pop over sweatshirty perfect layer. Normally it's too warm for me here to wear, but in these temperatures, I love it. And the original pattern comes with the 3/4 length sleeves, not really tapered. I don't think there were decreases. Maybe, I can't remember. But it's that nice big gauge on big needles. So it's nice and light. I'll stand up again. And it is meant to be shorter, so it's not super short. This is top of my hips are right about here. So just nice to pop over something, and yeah, I love that I've been able to wear it. Okay, I was hoping I'd be able to wear my first finished object I'm about to show you, but I actually wanted something with sleeves today, longer sleeves, but oops, my pile is collapsing next to me. I did finish the Kevät pattern, sweater pattern by Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. This is my, as I called it online, my expensive cup of coffee sweater. It is in these delicious coffee colors. This yarn, I've talked about this before, so I won't say much about it now. The yarns are from Junction Fiber Mill. This darker brown is called Cedar. It is their Sport Weight Roots Light. And the contrast color is their Mill Blend, which is also a sport weight. And it's in the warm blend color. So if you can see the colors there. But it does have some tonality to it, some pinks and other colors. It just blocks out so beautifully. I love the stitch definition. It's a very springy yarn. Let's see. So if in the body, it's written to be really cropped, a very cropped top. I think it stops, I think in the original pattern, you just go to here, and then you get rid of this row, and it would just be these two. And the bottom, I decided to do a repeat, which also meant that I forgot to do a bobble round, but I'm probably going to leave it alone because I don't really care. I think it's fine. I got enough baubles. There are baubles there, baubles here, baubles at the top. We're bauble filled. So it is still shorter. I didn't measure that. It's definitely more than 6 inches. It's probably closer to 8 inches. So it's probably the shortest top I've made, but it's the perfect length if I put a camisole or t-shirt under it. But I wouldn't wear it without something under it unless it was a dress. Like a dress, but otherwise, if I just wore it even with my slightly higher waisted pants and moved around, you probably would see some skin. But that's not what I made it for. I made it for layering. Now I did modify the neckline. So in the end, I came back and picked up, I had done a 1x1 ribbing, but it was not sitting right. It was standing up and flared out, even though I had supposedly the right stitch count. So I decided to rip it out and do a garter, a very small garter band all the way around, and then bound off with an Icelandic bind off. And I liked the garter because I thought it went well with the garter that's already throughout the pattern. And so then I did the same thing for the sleeves. So I will insert a picture here that I took of the awkward selfie in the bathroom mirror picture, just so you can see how it fits on. It is super cozy, comfortable. I can't wait to wear it. And if the weather's going to stay like this for a while, actually even get colder, she will be put on. All right, so the story behind the coffee is that it was the Sunday at Rhinebeck last year, 2025. And my friends and I were hanging out by one of the exits, entry points, and waiting for everybody else to kind of meet up so we could leave. And I thought, oh, I wanted a cup of coffee maybe. So the 4-H Club offers coffee. I've never had it, but that's what I was told. I said, oh, they sell coffee over there. So I headed off to get coffee. But as I was walking up there, I thought I didn't really feel like having coffee, I guess. So I turned around to walk back down and looked up to the right at the last buildings that were there. And the very last one, I thought, I don't remember that I went into that one. I tried to make sure I went through every barn, including the animals, before we left to make sure I saw everything. And so I thought, well, I'll just wander up there. And the very first booth as I came in on the left was Junction Fiber Mill. And I remembered Saturday I had gone through there, but it was so packed in there, you couldn't get into their booth. It's like I was on the corner looking at their show colorway, and that was about all I could see. So I hadn't come back and completely forgot about it. But I went in and I saw, oh, sport weight yarn, and it's brown, which is, I wanted this to be in a brown, and I wanted a contrast color that wasn't too contrasted, but a lighter tone. So this fit really well. And so I also grabbed one extra skein of something else because they had a special that if you bought so many skeins, you got 10% off your entire order. So, hey, why not? So I believe I purchased 3 of these. And I have some left over. I still have one whole, I can show you the yarn, one whole skein of it left. Let's see, yeah, 200 yards sport weight in the color cedar. And this little bit here that's left over. Now, if I had wanted to do the sleeves a little bit longer or had done longer cuffs, I would certainly have used this up and maybe have broken into this third one, or of course, if I lengthened it. So I got a whole one of these left over. And the contrast color, this is how much I have left over. This is what wound off for other reasons, but I have most of this left. I'll put the amounts on the screen that I used. You can also check out my Ravelry account. So there's the label. And this is the composition, or the colors. So next, why don't I show you my socks? So I might get a bit confused if I don't think I repeated anything too much from before because I did record last week. I know I've talked about it, but you haven't seen that. So we'll see. let's talk about the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Sock Squad. The January yarn, I've shown you the works in progress before. As a reminder, this was the color mood board for January. And it was their deep winter sock on their high-wood base. And here they are. So I talked about these before too. I haven't done anything differently. I don't remember if I had one sock done last time or not. Probably, maybe. So I'll show it on the sock blocker. This is, I based it off of Summer Lee's stripe recipe number 2, the French Connection. I did not lose a yarn chicken. I didn't play yarn chicken. I actually have several grams of the contrast color here left over. And thank you so much to those of you who reached out last time when I was really worried based on my gauge that I was going to run out of the contrast color. Although I had some great recommendations for substituting, I had someone reach out to me to say, hey, I've got a few grams left over if you really need it. So I really appreciate that. I love this community. You guys are awesome. So I didn't need it. In fact, I have a little bit left over. So if anybody else needs some, you can contact me too. I don't know how many grams I have, at least maybe about 4 grams. So I ended up doing the 3 in the leg and then 6 for the foot. I thought I was going to end up doing 11 or so stripes overall, but I ended up just doing 9 stripes. I did a mini heel flap gusset and then a shadow wrap short row heel using the numbers from the Wrap 'em All vanilla sock pattern. And I think just because of this, I don't know, it's a very plump fingering weight yarn. So I think that's why that pattern, using those numbers, worked perfectly for this sock. I have used it before, and when I do it in stockinette, it doesn't have as much stretch as the original pattern, which is done in garter stitch. So I think if I used a light fingering yarn, I would probably make this heel flap a little bit longer to make sure that I've got that extra space in here for my instep. And so they fit great. I haven't actually blocked these at all, washed them. I think they turn out pretty well, and I'm just going to wear them. So those are my pair of socks for January. A project I completely forgot to talk about in the recording I did previously that you haven't seen are the sailor slippers. And they've been worn, so they're not in their best fresh looking appearance. There they are. Those are the sailor slippers. So these are felted slippers. So somebody, I can't remember who, on Instagram said they were jumping on the train and going to make some. And I thought, ooh, those look lovely and would make great gifts. And they're stripes. I love stripes for the feet. Socks, slippers. I'm really glad right now I have these because we have porcelain tile floors. So yeah, slippers is very nice. So I ordered the Drop Snow, I think is what this is knit in. I found somebody on Etsy that sells it here in the US. And, you know, colors again on a screen. And I have a hard time, if they're not right next to each other, just looking at pictures. Yes, I can do screenshots and put them next to each other. And I kind of did that. But I thought I'll just go, you know, how pink is that? How orange is that? Who knows? So that just try it out. So I did use whatever colors I'll put up here on the screen. For the top, I did, this is supposed to be fuchsia, I think, or magenta, hot magenta, something like that, for the I-cord edge here, and then this petrol blue for the sole. And I did order some, it's not Sock Stop, which is the name for the Rico grippy stuff that you put on the bottom of your socks or shoes to keep them from slipping. I found it because I don't have that here in the US, not locally at least. So I just bought some sort of stuff off Amazon. I try not to, but that's my only option locally. And so I tried it out, but it didn't, the little templates that I try to use did not work so well on the felted bottoms. I think if I had had maybe something hard underneath it to support it, maybe it would have worked. I don't think so. So I just freehand did it, and I had some problems with the tube and the cap, so it was a disaster at the beginning. So I just kind of free formed it. So I'm going to throw it from really far back. There it is. I just kind of free formed some chevrons and thought, let's just stick a big heart in the middle. I'm not going to show you the other one because it is a mess. The nice thing is though, you can just peel it off. Oops, sorry. You can peel it off the bottom of the felted slipper and put new stuff on. But it works great and I don't fall over. So that's a win. So I do have some more yarn and some other colors, so I'm going to make another pair, and then we'll see what we'll do with the leftovers. I did put, because there is a left and a right slipper, I did, before felting them, try to duplicate stitch the letter L, but that's what I got. It's that thing in the end. But you know what? The dot is on the left foot. So you might be able to see that they are shaped a bit. Now they are, I think, a little too big across here, the width. So if to do them again for myself, I would probably do fewer stitches, but the pattern designer includes where to lessen the stitches or increase the stitches if you want to increase the length or the width for the slippers. So it comes in a range of sizes. I'll put that up here on the screen. And they also explain how you can make it larger beyond the sizes she has listed there. So pretty easy, maybe in total 3 to 4 hours of knitting because they're the first ones. I expect them to go faster later. I did knit them on 2 needles concurrently. I think, yeah, both wooden sets of needles, whatever I could dig up, because you knit them, I think, on US 11s. Something big, like, I don't know what millimeters that is. It's up here. So they're pretty fast, and you knit them from the back of the heel across the foot, then over the toe, then you do the bottom, and then you seam it together. Drop snow is basically unspun. It's like barely spun to it. So they do mention to make sure you to twist the yarn a lot as you're sewing it. Otherwise, you know what's going to happen. It just pulls apart. That only happened to me once, and it's not a big deal. It's all going to felt together anyway. So I just picked up and resumed and remembered, twist, twist, do some sewing, twist it, do some sewing. So just keep that in mind. I don't think anybody wants to do seaming with unspun, and basically it becomes unspun as you start seaming. So give that yarn a twist. That was great advice in the pattern that I didn't follow at first or pay attention to. So there we go, a pair of slippers. All right, my last finished object is my spin project, or at least the natural colors. So in the last episode, I talked about my plan for those 9-gram bumps of random wools that I was going to spin together as a gradient. So I did lay them out, label them, number them, spun all the odd numbered ones together, all the even ones together, end to end, and then plied them together into a 2-ply. Now, these, I have 2 bits. So this is my end result of that. So here you can see where the browns had been and the grays, and then there was this odd just rust colored one that was in there, which I love how it's played with the different yarns as they came through on the bobbins as I applied it. So I think it came out pretty well. I always love that when I'm amazed at how something I made has turned out at least pleasing to me. So I spun this on my electric e-wheel 6, which is from Dreaming Robots. I absolutely love that thing. However, I wasn't paying attention because plying is just so fast compared to all the spinning. And I was watching something on my laptop, and I realized, oh, it's not, the bobbin's not taking up the yarn. It's the tension. And I looked at the bobbin, it was full. So I should have stopped and cut it and got another bobbin. I did finally, so this is all that's left of the rest of it. So I'd gone back to the creams, but that's okay because I just pick up with this one or start with this one. Doesn't matter, right? It's all spun. That's what that one looks like. So those were the creams as they come together. So it does come out to be roughly sport to DK weight with the odd slightly thicker, slightly thinner bits, but I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. And it's super bouncy, very sheepy, smells really good. And especially since the wools were varied a lot, I think a lot was merino, but some of them had nice smooth staples. Some I don't think were combed at all. So they had those sort of like pilled bits in them. So spinning that was a bit of a challenge as well. So I'm really happy how this turned out. And I think I'll be holding it, working it with the cream color, the fiber that I still have to spin up from the whole set. And then I also have some gray Gotland that I had spun up, and I'm going to, I think, work those together and make a cushion of some sort, either like a throw cushion or some chair pads. But I'm pretty happy with that one and how that has turned out. Okay, so let's look at some of the active works in progress. The first one I was going to share with you, I can't find. So if I can find it later, I will pop it in here during editing. It's driving me insane because it is my anthology throw. So a pattern by Helen Stewart that I purchased in 2022 for her Knit Vent collection of patterns. And I didn't start it though till December of 2023 when I had some mini skeins from Advent, and then didn't touch it for a long time. So I'm working on that, but I cannot find it. Yes, we're talking about 50% of a huge circular blanket that I knit on for over an hour last night. I cannot find. I have found the bag with the leftover yarns. I can't find this big blanket that is on the needles. It's a mystery. I have no idea where this thing has gone. So if I can find it, you will see it here, otherwise in the future. Okay, so this is editing me, putting this in later. While I was going to show some of my new acquisitions and cast-ons, I picked up my new cast-on bag and thought this is excessively full, and my brain went, that's where I stuck the blanket last night, into a different project bag that I was also working on that project last night. Anyway, I can quick show you my anthology throw and then we'll go back to what I was doing previously. So anyway, it's really hard to show you because it's circular and it's on cables. I would need a massive cable right now to get it bigger. So I've just been throwing in my different yarns, and I've gone, instead of doing this original plan that I had that had mixed tones and things in it, to keeping it these sort of cool tones throughout from scraps and minis. I think I need though, well, it's kind of brighter. I would like, it's getting kind of that calm vibe, but maybe wintry look. And I think I need to find some more kind of slightly brighter colors to pop in there now and then, just to make sure I'm keeping it a little brighter and it doesn't get too dark and moody. I'm moody enough for all of us. So now, so there it is. The thing that is almost impossible to show. So it is a big circle. Kind of looks like a circular tablecloth, doesn't it? So I am working on it. I am now just past 50% future, but I am knitting on this to get it done. Hopefully this year is the plan, and to make that happen, Yana from Finished Knitting Stories, go check her out. She is an amazing person, amazing crafter, but a great person. I will link her below. She has called it a pact. So we have a pact, an agreement to both work on our blankets when we're watching each other's videos, to get us along with these like really old, long lingering blankets. Also to help us along, Gwen, who is the Woolly Closet, another amazing person. She's going to be linked below. Check out her podcast as well. She is doing a year of blankets. So again, trying to either start some blankets or finish any blanket that is less than 50% done. All right, I'm going to show you updates. I am still working on Timely cardigan, but it looks the same as it did before, just a little longer. I am still working on the gingerbread sweater, and I've made a lot of progress on the body, but again, there's really nothing of interest to show you, but I have made progress. So let's move on to my Simply Sporty Shorties. The pattern, I did talk about these before, I believe in the last episode, and I don't know, again, what the problem is with me and knitting shorty socks, that they take longer. Now the first sock, I went through that super fast. I thought I have broken the curse of the shorty socks taking months for me to finish. Sock number 2 has not gone off to a good start. I had already knit. I'll show you the parts I had knit. Let me grab the project. Oh, that's what fell on the floor. Excuse me. All right, so in my lovely project bag, oh, well, it's a travel bag. It's a pouch from my friend. Thank you, Karen. I love this thing. So I'm using it currently as a project bag for my sock. So my sock's in there. So let me show you the first one that I finished, because I don't know if I showed you that one last time. So this is the Simply Sporty Shorty. It's a pattern by This Handmade Life. And so there's the shorty. So I did the contrast color cuff on there, and then everything else was knit in the main color, and then did the toe with the rounded toe option version that I follow from Nancy Wheeler's patterns. That's not the toe used in the pattern for this. I changed that. Now, the second sock started on, going great, finished the entire folded over tab cuff, I was in the process of folding it down and attaching it to the cast on edge, and my stitches weren't matching up. And so I was trying to count, place markers so that I could make sure I was doing it evenly. And I realized, I think this is coming out to be 32 stitches, which would make it a 64 stitch sock. I'm pretty sure I'm knitting the 72 stitch sock. Yeah, it's supposed to be 72. So I knit the whole thing, was seaming it down, and near the end realized that's not the right size. So we started over. Fine, just start over, not a big deal. And did it again. Then I think I dropped a stitch somewhere in the short rows, had a rip back. Okay, that's fine, little setbacks. It's a tiny cuff. Finally got to the end. It was, for some reason, I had a really hard time attaching or knitting together the stitches from the live stitches with the cast on edge. I didn't have that problem with this sock, but I ran into nonstop trouble with sock 2. The pattern instructions have you sew it down, but I like to just knit them together. I think in the end, I should have just sewn that one down because it would have been faster. It took ages, which then frustrated me, and then just, built things up. And then, I know another one. And then I was so excited I was done, and you just knit a couple rounds, and then you start doing the heel flap, which is what I started doing. I think I did about 3 repeats of the heel flap and realized I was supposed to change color to the main color. So I undid that yesterday, and we're now back in business on the second one. So there we are. So now I'm only this far. There's my new heel flap in the correct color. I thought these would be done by February, but that's on Sunday, and today is Wednesday, so probably not. But there we go. Anyway, it's my little shorty project I can take with me where I need to. So there's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's a curse. It's the curse of the shorty socks with me. So now we can move into new cast-ons. That's right, you know me here, new cast-ons. I finished some projects. That means, hey, let's cast something else on. Well, I was really feeling the need to have a shawl on my needles. I love shawl knitting, and it had been a while since I had one that I enjoyed working on. And I have been waiting and waiting to try out the assigned pooling yarns. And so, I showed this before in acquisitions. My friend Karen sent me this. Thank you, Karen. 2 of these amazing hand-dyed hanks of yarn. It's from 3 Trees Fiber Crafts, and it's on their fledgling 4-ply sock. So if you're not familiar with assigned pooling, roughly 75% of the yarn will be some main color, and then about the other 25% will be a contrast color. So that you knit the main color, and then whenever you get to the contrast color, you do a special stitch, a different texture, something, whatever it might be. So I was trying to figure out which pattern to use, and Dawn Baker, who's sort of the originator, I guess, of assigned pooling projects, using the yarns for that. I have a lot of hers that I find are interesting, but for some reason I thought, oh, I don't want to do a garter. Oh, that one, I didn't want it all to be stockinette. if the wrong side was going to not look good, because I don't like having to wear shawls or wraps where you're making sure that the right side is the only side showing. I don't know that that's what it looks like, but that's what I had in my mind. So I came across the Romantasy pattern. I'll put the information up here. And I really liked the trapezoidal shape, and I liked the pattern within the pattern. So it has this sort of trellis eyelet section that runs diagonally across the scarf. And then every now and then you work your contrast color when it comes up into these kind of wrapped stitch baubles. Now, I thought, perfect. I have an Australian yarn from an Australian friend. Let's use an Australian designer's pattern. Why not? Let's just make it a trifecta and go with that. So I started it. Let me show you the ball wound up. Whoops. So this is what the color looks like wound up in there. So you got this navy blue, kind of a navy blue purple background, and then it switches into this hot pink and aqua tones in here. And you use a cable needle to hold your stitches for wrapping. So I'm finding that a bit fiddly at the moment, but I'm hoping I just need to get more into it to find the pattern, a rhythm. But here's what I have so far. So I did cast it on last week, but because of the dark colors and the concentration, I just haven't been working on it, or I want to work on it, something happens and it ends up being dark out. So I give it a pass. Now, I didn't have enough of the shawl at the beginning, so I didn't bother to do the first bauble back here, or cluster, whatever it's called. Now, the designer has in the pattern, there are links to video tutorials on how to work these on both the right side and the wrong side, and about placement. So there are two options, really. You can just, whenever you hit the contrast color in your work, like I will be getting to here, you work that special stitch. Or you can try to keep it within these stockinette sections. I don't know if you can see them there, which is what the designer has done so that they stay in there. But of course I haven't done very many, and I notice mine keeps stacking up. So I would sometimes knit and go, oh, that's going to end up in the lace holes instead of stockinette. So I would go back, use up some of the main color. So it requires you to do a little managing as you go. So stop to think about it. So I'm going to keep going with that for a while, see what happens as it grows. I got to let it grow quite a bit and see where the placement of these end up. And if that bothers me, then I'm going to rip it out. And I could either then just work those whenever I reach them. But I actually really like this pattern that it's superimposed in. So I don't know that I want to ruin that. So I guess if I don't like the way this is looking, then I'll just have to pick a different pattern and do a different stitch. But they are fun. They're not too fiddly to work with. It's just when I'm knitting along, I feel like, oh, these are coming too fast, because now I have to figure out if I'm in a stockinette section. But I don't have that many stitches on here yet. So I want to give it a little time and see how it works out. My second new cast on is related to acquisitions of yarn that I purchased over the weekend. I also have some items that I purchased as gifts, and I also was gifted items. So the last part of today's episode will all be about the new stuff, shopping things and gift getting. So if you're not interested in seeing all the stuff I got, then thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope you got some time to work on your projects, and I'll see you next time. All right, if you're hanging around here, last Saturday and Sunday was the inaugural Sun-Kissed Fiber Festival here in the Tampa Bay area. So it was in Hillsborough County at the county fairgrounds. And the first 100 people each day got a little bag. So that was the festival. And so of course it's 25 miles from my house. So I had to go, have to check it out, be part of that. And so I was checking out some of the previews, the teasers that some of the yarn dyers were posting through there. And so I had some ideas on where I wanted to go, who I wanted to see. I'm trying to find the list of how many dyers. So this was when you showed up, you got this list that had notes for the back, and then you had your all the dyers and people that were there. So there was one building that was enclosed with doors, and the covered sort of walkway or patio area, that's kind of the livestock area that led to that building, they were connected, was open. So it was just the overhead cover with big fans, which actually that was the most comfortable place to be in, because once it got busy inside, it got a bit warm in there. It was 83 degrees for a high on the weekend, both days. So it was pretty warm. So that's about 28 degrees Celsius. That was warm, but it was lovely, and people were very nice, polite. It was good to be somewhere where you had that nice humanity interaction. Considering all the nonsense going on in this world, yeah, it was a very positive environment, people being very polite and considerate. So that was a great way to just give you that extra therapy besides all the yarn fumes and the spinning items and everything else that was there. There were loads and loads of project bags, so many project bags. I didn't buy any because I just thought, I can't. There's no way I could choose. I would have had to buy like hundreds of them, which would have been thousands of dollars spent on project bags. But amazing, the fabrics and the quality of some of these were just astounding. So I can't believe I didn't just pick up one, but anyway, I had a list I was trying to stick to, and I had ideas of things I wanted, and things that I didn't need right then, unless the hank of yarn told me I had to take it home, which did happen with one. I bought the wrong thing, but is it really the wrong thing? It was the unintended colorway. Let's put it that way. Anyway, you want to see it. You want to see the stuff I got. So, cast on. I had to cast this on. I had to wind it up and get this yarn going into a swatch. I have 3 of these. The first booth I stopped at was Queen City Yarn. They're located in North Carolina. I have to find out where, because we do go up there occasionally in the winter, and I need to go visit. So this is their Coleman base, 65%. Whoop, where am I? There we are. 65% silk, 35% linen in the color Slushy. Now, I went into the booth and I picked up something else I'll show you in a moment. Then I thought, aha, I knew I wanted to get those. I saw it on Instagram. Just started looking at the rest of their yarns, beautiful colors. And then there was a table with some yarns. I came from behind and just kind of peeked through to touch it. And I was spotted by the booth attendant woman. I can't remember what her name is. Anyway, I'm sorry. And said, oh, that's silk and linen. And I said, oh, I'm like, don't touch it, don't pick it up. Well, I came around, that's me talking to myself in my head. Like, no, that's not on the list. So I came around and they had a clothing rack with samples on it, knitted in that yarn. So their idea is they wanted, these DK worsted weight garments, but knit in a warmer weather fiber. And they had, I'll show you the picture I took up here. This is Thea Coleman's Grapefruit Pink Lady pattern, and it's knit in this Coleman yarn in this colorway. And it just caught my eye, and I thought, I absolutely love this. And right away I thought that's something I could wear to work. I could definitely wear that a lot here because it's got the lace and it's silk and linen. Even though it's DK, we're good. And it was so light feeling and drapey, even though it's all plant and silk fibers. So I thought, oh, so we were looking at colors and they had this gorgeous red, but I kept thinking, I really love that sample. So I took it off and held it up off the rack and held it up against me. And I said, could I wear this color? Absolutely, you can wear that color, is what she said. So ching ching, we're in. So what's really nice, I really love not only samples, whether they're the garments or accessories fully made up in yarns or their swatches, that will most likely get that person a sale for me. Seeing how that's going to work up, it just helps me so much to really envision how that's going to work in a pattern, even if you're not going to make that particular pattern, right? That's the inspiration to get you going. So several people there had those, but not a lot. There were only a few samples worked up that I saw in a lot of the booths. Yeah, so that made a big difference. Now, it technically was on my list, but I wasn't thinking of this. I had in general, okay, it's all right to get some fingering weight yarn to make a short sleeve tee or something like that. Because I don't often have more than, I have single skeins, maybe 2 skeins of the same color. I rarely have enough to really make sure I can make a larger top. So I gave that a try. I swatched with it. I was waiting for it to dry, and then I didn't realize the other day when it rained in the morning, when I looked outside, my swatch was outside. It was raining. Fortunately, the mat had flipped over, and so it wasn't very wet, because it did take a while to dry, being linen and silk. It is, I would say the silk is probably that barrette silk, because it's smooth, but it feels like a really nice cotton is what it reminds me of. So it's not sticky, but it's not super slippery. It's really nice. So I was able to swatch on my metal Chowgu needles. So this was my swatch. I know it's not very big, but it's good enough. So it is, it was slightly smaller. I did do my pre-blocking to see what it's like. And I thought, oh, okay, how much is this really? It's not going to bloom because it's silk and linen, but I thought, oh, but it is a little bit of lace and I know it's going to stretch. So I blocked it out to the measurements that the gauge should come out to be. I would only need to go, I think it was a 1/4 of an inch difference. But once I opened it up, because you have the lace and some decreases, I got this really nice fabric. It's very, you can see that. Oh, I love it. So that's the pattern overall, not this ribbed. I wanted to change I was working it flat. So I wanted to change my left-hand needle to be smaller, just in case my gauge was looser, so that on the purl side, which it can be sometimes, especially working on metal needles. So my gauge came out the same, but I can see it was a lot more even once I went down a needle size on the left hand for the purl rows. But that's it there. So, that's the color. So I do have some color, right? It's not all earthy tones and stuff. And reds. I still have lots of reds to work with. It is knit bottom up. It's not my favorite to knit bottom up, but I've made enough tops now that I have a good sense of what I like in terms of length, depending on what the garment, what I plan to wear it with. So it's fine. It's very easy. And there are notes about where it's best to increase or decrease if you want to change the circumference of the garment. And because you're going to split then and work the front and the back separately, then you can do some adding and decreasing in the body there as well. So you do have those options. It's pretty easy to do. It is an 8-row repeat of this pattern. So 8 rows to make the lace and then some stockinette repeated throughout. And I think it's a very effective, really beautiful garment. So this is what I have so far. And because it's DK, now the original pattern calls for worsted weight, but worsted DK is fine. And there we go. So I've done the ribbing. The ribbing is on US 7, which is what the pattern gauge needles are, which are 4.5 millimeter. For the bottom, I think that's fine, because even though it's silk and plant fibers, I don't want it to be tight, so I don't mind it stretching out a bit at the bottom. The pattern does call for you to go down a needle size from whatever you're using for the body when you work the arm ribbing and the neck ribbing. And I definitely will. I might actually need to go down 2 sizes. I'm going to have to see what it looks like because I know it's going to get kind of stretched out and not look as good. At least I know when I do cotton, it's like that. But I haven't worked with a silk linen blend like this before, so we'll see how that works. My plan also to figure out how long I want it is when I get to the point in the pattern where it says knit to that length, I am then going to block it and hang it and see how much it stretches, because I'm assuming it's going to get longer rather than wider, which I don't want it getting too long Of course I can stretch it out again, but it's eventually going to go longer again. But I don't want it starting off longer than I would like it to be. So that's my plan. I've made a note for myself. I need to make a note for myself on Ravelry, because I think I edited, this was in my previous trashed episode recording, was that when I picked up again for Timely, my computer told me that it couldn't open the file. So something happened to the file, and that's where I was making all my notes on that sweater. I figured out where I was and I picked up, it's fine. But now note to myself to make sure I'm putting notes in Ravelry or somewhere else. I have a project book I haven't used in a while. I could put them there. Normally it's random scraps of paper that are nearby. So you can imagine that that gets lost. But depending on just my electronics, of course, is a gamble, and I recovered, but I should probably do that with this one as well. Anyway, so I really like it. Yeah, the color is probably more like that back there. So I am having so much fun knitting on this. It's very easy, very relaxing to do, repeatable pattern. All right, what else did I buy from there? Let's look. Where? All right, it's gonna be a long one because I haven't been here for several weeks. All right, the first thing I bought at Queen City Yarn was this set, which is it says Flamingo Kit. Did I even read the information about it? No. I just saw the colors and said, gotta have those. But I realized later, looking back on Instagram site, that they partnered with with a bag maker. So there was a flamingo bag, which was near the display with this. I thought later, oh, was I supposed to get that with it? But it couldn't have been. Based on the price that I paid, it would not have included that bag, I'm pretty sure. If it did, I came away without the bag. So I could have lost out on something. I'm not sure, but it's whatever. But look at these beautiful colors. So I think the Flamingo Kit, there's a hat by Telly Bean Knits. That's the flamingo hat, and I think that's what this is for. This was something we got at the door. There were raffle prizes you could register for, and they had these free wooden flamingo stitch markers there also. So I just stuck it onto this set. So look at that happiness. So this is, I think, pretty sure in the show colorways, everybody had, for the most part, something colors like this. So very kind of Florida beachy colors for the show colorways. So that was what I picked up first at Queen City Yarns, and then I found the other yarn and have cast that on. Okay, what else did I get? Let's go for something that's completely different color. And that is this one from KC Knits, which is a Florida hand dyer. Her booth was all these, mostly was what I saw, were a bunch of moody jewel tone colors. And then there were some lighter ones, but my eye was drawn in, and I told her I have to come in because my eye saw all these gorgeous deep blues and greens. So this is a DK weight base in the color depths, and so you can see it has these different shades of greens with a little bit of blue mixed in. This is going to be for the Sitka cowl, which is a pattern I've had in my library for ages and in my queue for ages. I just need to find the main color, something lighter. So I'll have to see. I'm not sure that if this is warm, leans warm or cool. I think it has a good kind of neutral. I could go either way. Yeah, so that is what I was looking for. I just didn't find a DK lighter color, contrast color that I was happy with to take home to get that worked up. But it's a cowl knit in the round, so it's double layered. But I would love to have this one done before this summer for travels. I found Leading Men Fiber Arts right after I found the Queen City Yarns. Had a wonderful chat with them. I may have been their first sale of the day, but they had amazing bags. They have a bag maker that makes bags for them that they sell. They had lots of other things, some sweet Georgia yarns. I had an idea that I wanted to find a sock set or, well, actually 2 skeins of sock yarn so I can cast on those happy hour socks from Stone Knits that I wanted to do over New Year's. So it was tough. Their colors are gorgeous. They have like a light fingering, a heavy fingering, and then a 150 gram skein as well. Oh, I don't think you could go wrong with the colors. They're just gorgeous. So I picked up these two. So this is their Spotlight base, which is 400 yards per 100 grams in the color Moonlight. So it's this beautiful kind of gray, kind of a gray, it's not beige, it's definitely on the cool side. And it has these little subtle flecks of blue through there. So that's going to be my main color. For the contrast color, I got on their Showstopper base is the color Papaya. This is 463 yards per 100 grams. So fingering weight and a light fingering, but this is going to be my contrast color. So this is my Aperol Spritz color for my cocktails. So that's what I chose. There were lots of different kind of red, orange, pink things that for some reason I just had to have that color. And yeah, those are gonna be my socks, my colorwork socks. Someday. Maybe for my birthday cast on, because that'll be a good one. All right. I finally got a chance to meet the wonderful people from 3 by the Sea Designs. They are just down the road from me. They're not far from where the fairgrounds are also. You can find their shop on Etsy, and they have an episode channel on YouTube. Their colors are gorgeous. I love their Sanibel sock base. That's one of my favorite ones. They have bags, stitch markers, things like that. So they run their business out of their home. And got to chat with them, had a nice little chat, and I was asking them, I said, okay, which one of you is it that we chat together on YouTube during the 24-hour knit-a-thon? And one of them turned around and said, you're Jess. I follow you on Instagram. I'm like, you do? No, it's you. So that was funny. That's not who was on the knit-a-thon, but anyway. So I thought it was funny. So I was drawn to their bright colors as well. And I planned to get, when I look at my photos that I took screenshots of before the festival saying, hey, go get some of this. That's not what I bought. I don't know. I think it's because I thought, oh, I already have those colors from the other yarn shop. I'll get something else. They have a lot of their colors. They put on multiple bases. So they have, I think it's this alpaca Surrey fluff. And then they'll have fingering weight, so different weights and bases they'll do the colorways on. So I picked up this set, and I didn't even realize, because it was hanging like this, you could just get the single. I thought, oh, I'll get it with the mini. And it wasn't until I was checking out and he turned it over that I saw, oh, there are 2 minis. I mean, we were chatting and talking, and people were taking pictures, and I was trying to avoid buying any bags or spending too much on anything. But I got this beautiful set that they had samples. I love it. They had little swatches knit up, and it looks like beach sand, warm beach sand with just little specks of color in there, which is what they're looking for. So it does remind me of the sandy beaches here on the West Coast with the little specks from the broken up seashells. So that's beautiful. These beiges and peach. So there's this set. So this is their, oh, I show you, it's called Beach Vacation on their Sanibel base. This is one of my favorite bases of theirs. It is so gorgeous. They have some that with stellina in them as well. I've knit up several socks. In fact, I was talking about one of the colors they had there, and I said, oh, I love that one. I knit socks, and my sister stole them from me. All right, I let her take them, but I knit a pair of, what socks were they? Anyway, a pair of socks in them. They were gorgeous, love it. And they said that was actually one of their first colorways. Did I buy that? No. Why? Because I was buying this. Okay, got one item, just walk away. Anyway, not really regretting it, but kind of, because otherwise, if you wait for the shop updates, they sell out so fast. I mean, I set a reminder on my phone when we were in Australia 2 summers ago, because I saw that they were going to have a shop update and they were having a specific item that I had to get. I had to have it, and I knew they would sell out. So I set an alarm, and unfortunately, because of the time difference, it was just like 9 o'clock in the morning or something for me. My alarm goes off. I thought, what was that for? I'm like, oh, right, they're doing the shop update. So I ordered it while I was in Australia off Etsy. And I think it was waiting for me when I got home. By the time they sent it, it was a pre-order. or right after. Fantastic. I can buy myself yarn to be sent to my home while I'm on the other side of the earth. They're that good. They are really good. Okay, so that's my plug for 3 by the Sea designs. Amazing people and amazing yarns and colors and bags and stitch markers and all the things. And then I went past Whimsy Stitches Yarn Company, who is out of New Orleans, and it was on the corner. I have some of the footage that will be put in the end. I don't have a lot of footage. It was also small. It was just the vendors' 2 little areas. So it wasn't sprawling with lots of other things. And there was a lot, except for people. There were a lot of people, which is great. But I came around a corner because I was looking at all the bags again, some had sewn, looking at the yarn colors. I think I was looking for something in particular at that point. Can't tell you what it is now, but whatever it was to fill in the gaps that I hadn't found already. And they had their show colorway. And so I picked that up. Oh, here's their card. So, so this is the owner, Rick. So he was manning the booth all by himself. And this is the colorway I got. Really bright colors, right? Not normally something I go for, but I was also trying to pick up things that I thought I could gift. Maybe I'll, give them to specific people who I know love bright colors. I had one person in mind, but then I thought, I don't know. This has a lot of blue and greens in it, a lot of green. So maybe not for that person, but I picked it up anyway. They had this on, he had it on a DK base as well that I was tempted to get, but I got the standard fingering, which is 437 yards per 100 grams. It is a 70-30 superwash merino nylon, and it's called Florida Beach Bum. Is the colorway. So I haven't opened it up yet to look at all the colors, but this nice variegated yarn. So previously at another fiber festival, I had purchased some wool yarn from North Bay Fiber Co. I think it was at Indian Tangled, and in this beautiful thistle colorway. So this is their heavy DK to worsted weight. And I had intentions of using this for a sweater. And then once I got home, I realized, maybe I don't, because it's going to be too much of this solid across here. And I thought, I actually don't think that's a good idea. Maybe I need something where I have to break it up or do something else with it. So I do actually have a plan for this. I'm going to, I think my plan, I have to swatch to see if it'll work out. But I love when my brain suddenly clicks in and I think, go on Ravelry, look up the yarn and look at the projects people have made with it, right? It's a great way to get ideas. And so this was used, look, it kind of matches the wall color behind me. Anyway, yeah, this was used by Samantha Guerin to make this pattern because I didn't write the notes down. I almost thought of it anyway. I thought that'd be a great way because I have about 900 yards of it. So it's not enough for like a cardigan or doing other things in color work. When it's already heavy DK to worsted and multi-stranded just makes me too warm thinking about it unless I steeked it and did something else. So these were ideas. I thought stripes or a texture, something to make it lace more lacy because then it would open up and go further. So I thought, let's do this pattern. It has texture in it as well. And then I just need a contrast color for those stripe sections. So I was trying to figure out which color, and I found this one from this beautiful color. It is from the Fiber Seed. It is on their worsted base, size 4, which to me looked very similar to their size 3 base. It looked to be identical because I picked up the DK first and then said, they had the worsted. I'll get the worsted. But it's on their, the color is called Plum. There's the composition. The composition's on the front, sorry. It is their sprout worsted. It is 250 yards per 136 grams. So it does come up as a good worsted. It is a blend of washable USA merino wool and 10% nylon. So I'm thinking we're going to put those two together. I mean, goes with my contrast nicely with the wall. So I think actually doing a dark contrast, I wasn't sure that was too much, but I think it'll work. They had a color similar to this in the space in the other one, so I held them together. I thought, oh, I think the tones look really good together. So I think that can be fun to have those purple sections, the texture, and then these dark stripes. So that's the plan for that one. Almost done with my purchases. I haven't got to my gifts yet. Yarn Birds was there. So the fiber seed is out of Ohio, and so is the Yarn Birds. Yarn Birds, I think, are in Columbus, where I used to live years ago, back in the dark ages. They had, so they're a yarn shop, and they had little bits of all kinds of things. They had redesigned bags. They had both of Summerlee's sock books. They had, I didn't realize later, they had some Frankie Gray fibers and Magpie fibers, but it was a really busy little booth area. It's like 2 tables and another table, so it was quite small. And so I was talking to somebody else and didn't want to bother. And I spotted these lovely mini skeins. Look at those colors. Oh, they're showing up really well on here. And my friend came by and I said, oh, I'm thinking about it. She's like, no judgment, whatever you want to do. I said, but you know what sold me? I said, you know what I'm going to get? And it sold me is that it came with this stitch marker, which is a sparkly wine glass. So I said, yeah, why not? It came with a fabulous stitch marker. So that pushed me over the edge. And I said, okay, I'll get those, but they're so pretty. Look at those. So this is from 29 Bridges Studio out of Maryland. And let's see if I can read it. What does it say about it? The colorway, the group is called Friday Live at 5. That colorway was not on Ravelry when I searched for it. 5 mini skeins. Each one is 20 grams, 92 yards, a 75-25 superwash merino, nylon, total yardage, 460 yards. I almost said grams. This isn't 460 grams. 460 yards. So in total, a light fingering weight for something. Don't know what. I don't think they'll be socks. Something in a project somewhere, someday. It's so pretty. From the little camper outside that I saw on the line when you come in, where you come in is right next to the outdoor area where there's some tables set up too, where you could craft. You could make some soap sacks and then hand them over to Stacy at the Soap Sacks booth to donate with some soap. There was a company called Parcel. She's a hand dyer. I think she's over near Orlando. Gorgeous colors, and they're, yeah, beautiful, beautiful colors. I got there a little late, so a few people, she said, I had a lady, she cleaned me out of like a lot of the yarns. But what caught my eye was the alpaca Fluff. So she had a lot of mohair, superwash finger merinos, and from what I looked at closely, and the alpaca Surrey alpaca lace, which I am much more of an alpaca person. Mohair tends to bother me more, but alpaca I'm completely fine with. So it's 64% baby Surrey alpaca, 26% grade A mulberry silk, and 10% mermaid stellina sparkle. Yes, that is right. I don't know if it'll show up. It is alpaca Fluff with sparkle. I don't know if you can see the sparkle is in the cord. I think you can see it there. I mean, come on. So I thought, oh, I really like this color. Here we go again, the aquas, whatever. I thought, I think I can wear something like that. But she only had one of these left. And I had this in mind for a really lightweight, like summer sweater is called, but not in Florida. I'm not going to wear this in the summer in Florida, but you know, just some really light something or other. I don't know. But, or put it into something, but it has sparkle in it as well. Who doesn't need a little sparkle? And so I thought, you know, there were some other people that were helping me through this dilemma. And, you know, that, yeah, can always get more. I talked to the dyers, like, yeah, it won't be that much different, even if it's not the same dye lot. She said it's pretty consistent. So, okay, and she's local. I love finding out all the local, or at least Florida area people that I can buy fiber from, places I didn't know existed. So I loved that part of it as well. Anyway, I picked up a pair. They look like different colors on the camera, but this one is definitely more saturated because it's superwash merino wool and nylon. But oh, there we go. This minty, blue. There was like a seafoam green one as well, but the blue definitely. This is called Cool Down on her Aura sock, which wasn't also, I think wasn't on Ravelry maybe. This also has sparkly stellina. Oh, there it is. You can see it sticking up. Yeah. So I thought, we said, oh, well, I might as well grab one of these to pair with it so I don't just bring home one lonely skein and need a friend. So what am I going to do with one skein of each one? I don't know. I'm sure I could make something like a Wilfrida if I got another one of these, but I already have a Wilfrida in a kind of minty blue-green color. I don't know, but they're so pretty together. So maybe they would have little babies and my stash will multiply. We can dream. So great person, really nice person. And I'll link her below. I'll link all these makers below as well if you want to go visit their websites. Okay, that was my final purchase. And then I hightailed it out of there while I still had some money left to spend. It was a wonderful event, really nicely organized. They had volunteers, you had raffle drawings, and the organizer said they're already planning for next year. So if you want to come down to the Sunshine State in the end of January 2026, I don't know what the dates are yet, but stay tuned for that. Follow Sunkissed Fiber on Instagram. I will link them below as well so you can find their site and prepare to come down for a lovely weekend. It's if it's in the same venue, same size, you could spend a lot of time there just being several hours, but I was really done because I was trying to not get distracted. I was probably there for a total of 2 hours. Wandering around, coming in and out. But if you sat down to knit or crochet or anything, that could take time. So anyway, so it's not a big, huge festival. It is a little small, but it could be growing as time goes on. We'll see. But that was amazing and well done to everybody for that. I hope everybody made it back to their respective locations safely because everybody except for the locals came from the north. And they had to go back to whatever is left for them in this winter storm. So hopefully everybody got back safely. Okay, for the last part, more stuff, but this was gifted to me. Well, it's really as part of a swap. So a swap of a book and some yarn from your stash. So as part of the Patreon group for Cocktail Hour at the Coop, if you haven't followed them, watch their channel or anything here, I'm going to link them below. You have to head over there. So we've swapped names, and the person who got my name, lovely individual, I'm not going to say their name because I didn't ask about it, sent me my box. It came from up north and it even arrived through all that snowy storm weather. And let me tell you, this is fantastic. So the only thing is that you send one book and at least one skein of yarn, and we know a little bit about the person because we fill out a form. You don't have to put anything else in there, but people usually throw in snacks and other things. Some people go crazy and put in all kinds of amazing things, like my sender. Amazing. So let me show you those. So let's start. Oh, there's some crinkling. So it came in this box, and look at this beautiful paper. Oh, it's gorgeous. All right, so I opened it up, and right on top was my book. So this one here, A Fair Isle Nurse. I had seen this, I hadn't read it, so I'm really interested in reading this book. It's perfect. So it's by Mona McAlpin. And so I'm interested in that. Memoirs of the only medical professional in Fair Isle in the mid-1960s. And there's the picture of the nurse. So I'll have to give you a little book review later once I get through that. And it's nice. It's a nice way. I can read this this year. I usually do audiobooks, but I do like to read books, paper books as well, print books. I just tend to not get through them very fast. Then I got some, I'm going to save the yarn for the end. Yes. Then I got some nice little snacks. And she sent me some coffee. We'll have to try this today. I haven't opened it up yet. Ooh, gotta try that one. And there were also some stitch markers and a lovely, good smelling candle, gingerbread. Oh, it smells so good. I'm gonna leave the lid on and just take a whiff when I need that nice little warming, feel good smell. And look at this, and a project bag. I'm gonna put this down right now. Look at this, the print. So I didn't buy a project bag, but I got one gifted to me. Look at all the little foresty animals and bottles and things on it that has the snakes and mushrooms and foxes and cats and whatever else it might be. I don't know if is there a maker? Oh, there is a maker label. So here is who it's by. So I love that. Okay, and the yarn. So they sent me one skein of Lure from the Fiber Company. More purples. I've got other purples. I'm knitting up some purple now. I'm gonna be knitting that purple, and I got more purple. So this is 100% Kent lamb's wool. So from Kent, England. That's gorgeous. And this scrumptious sueño from Haiku. So this is in the color of mulberry. This is a 80% merino superwash, 20% viscose from bamboo. You get 255 yards or 233 meters per 100 grams. Ooh, in this beautiful like purpley wine color. Yeah. So absolutely gorgeous and amazing. All the stuff in here. I need to try out the snack. I need to make a cup of coffee. Gotta figure out what to do with that yarn at some point, but it's gonna go in my stash. And I've reorganized and claimed the front living area, sitting room is my craft area because I'm the only one who hangs out there and don't have my own space in the house. So I have taken all the board games and things out of this cupboard that's in that room, put them somewhere else. We had a bit of a clear out of the kids' old books and games they don't use anymore. And it's now a place to store some of my yarn so that it's there, I see it, and it gets used. So those are going in that space. All right, I think that's it, my friends. If you're still here, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Again, I hope that if you were in that path of that storm, that you have power, you have heat, you have all the cozy things that you need, that you're able to just maybe have a snow day and you're just crafting. Be careful out there, walking, driving, whatever it might be, snowing, snowshoeing, snowing. Yeah. Snowshoeing, skiing, skating, whatever you might be doing. I can think of all the fun things you could be doing. Anyway. So there's always more to talk about, but that was the last several weeks worth, and I think that's enough for today. So I will catch up with you next time. And until I see you then, take care and happy crafting.
Ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba.